Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Columbia. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back at it once again here, 316 Greystone Boulevard. Fast-paced and action-packed. Hurry up and no huddle sports talk programming for you. Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, around the world on the iHeart radio application. Download it today, absolutely free. The Clemson Sports Talk app, also free. We are also live right now on YouTube and looking to be live on Facebook momentarily for those of you who are a part of the program. Still trying to work out some of the kinks here on the Facebook connection. I don't know why Facebook makes it so difficult, but just to be honest with you, they do. So we're working on the Facebook feed. We got Lowell the intern in the building, a little bit of a surprise visit. Maybe not for Lowell, but for me that he's here today. I, in all honesty, didn't expect Lowell the intern to be here today. Not that he doesn't show up on the regular, but I thought we had already moved into his fall schedule. I'm sort of like his professor of radio expertise, something like that, I guess you could say, but it looks to me like Lowell the intern is going to be here for the remainder of the program unless something crops up. By all appearances, Lowell the intern's here, and I do think that we now have the show up, coming up live on Facebook as well. So without further ado, we will swing it over to my man Lowell at Lowell the intern. Lowell, what's going on, my man?
Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing?
Man, fantastic. Glad to have you back with us. It's been a while since we've seen you. I know you were here a couple of days last week. You did a Wednesday show along with Mike Vaughn. You did a Friday show along with Mike Vaughn. And this is the first time you and I have really had a chance to kind of talk about that and really get your thoughts on the programs when I wasn't here. I mean, I'm looking around. You didn't sink the ship, so you've got that going for you.
You're still alive. You still have a job, so that's always good. I do have some news for you, though, by the way.
Oh, what? Did the higher-ups?
No.
I figured the suits had probably called you.
No, we haven't booted you out yet. But on the schedule front.
Yes. Oh, what? Hold on. Football schedule front?
No. My schedule front.
Your schedule front.
The important schedule. Come on.
Okay. Allegedly important. Go ahead.
After this week, I am off until August 31st.
You're off the air.
No, I'm out of school until August 31st.
Well, I think
that's when my fault.
I think the listeners were probably hoping that you were saying you were off the air. I mean,
well, I hate to break it to them, but I will be on the air more frequently, and then that's when I start dropping off, possibly one day a week.
Okay.
I haven't really figured that all out yet, but yeah, I'm free until August 31st.
He is Lowell the intern. You can follow him, as you can see there on the overlay if you're watching the show on Facebook or YouTube, at Lowell the intern. If it's on your Facebook page, feel free to share it with your friends and neighbors. 803-978-1832, the hashtag on Twitter, CST Show. One of the things, Lowell, that maybe people don't know about the program is that with the advent of bringing this thing to the airwaves, one of the circumstances in which we have to, that I have to deal with is, remember when we started this, what was the main complaint we got from people? Do you remember the complaint that we got from people about my camera shot, my camera angle?
Too low.
It was too low, right? Swanee, we're looking up your nose. We have no interest in looking up your nose. Well, now, Lowell, what I'm dealing with over here is a heck of a contraption. Would you agree with that statement? We've got some sort of box of doom. That's what I would label it, a box of doom. And the entire apparatus, my laptop is stacked on top of the box. And so it leaves me very little room otherwise. So I've got to figure something out a little bit better than this, and I'll probably try to modify and adjust during the program. That will not matter, though, to those of you who are a part of the program on Facebook, on YouTube, or listening to us on the iHeart Radio app. But it's something I'm dealing with personally here. I have a personal issue going on. 803-978 1832. That's the number tonight. You want to be a part of the program? Text us thanks to our good friends at the Caribbean Resort and Villas, soon to be the Ocean Reef Resort text line. That text line number 803-450-0086. Yes, I can talk about both of those businesses as they are a part of the same conglomerate at the top, so that Britain Resort Group. So yes, I can talk about those. You can also be a part of the program on Twitter at Clemson Sports, and man, more and more people being a part of this program on Facebook. Over 3,000 impressions, over 300 and some odd views in just our second day on Facebook. Can't wait to take this program to the top. And of course, when you talk about taking the program to the top, you got to look at Dabo Swinney. Lowell, before we dive into the conversations with Dabo Swinney that he had yesterday with members of the media, some of the highlights of Coach Swinney, I got to ask you briefly, the AP poll put out their top 100 teams of all time in the poll era. They had the Clemson Tigers at number 22. I said on the program yesterday as I was riding in, I listened to people talking about it, and of course, they were really diving into those top programs. They didn't mention where everybody was. But I said to myself, you know what? If you're ranked inside the top 25, you've done something with yourself. And to have Clemson sitting there at number 22, I was pretty impressed. Lowell, your thoughts on the Clemson Tigers at number 22?
I think it's probably about right. You know, you're not really quite a blue blood of college football. You're not an Alabama, a Florida State, a USC, a Texas, those teams in the top 10 who
are you talking
really
South Carolina when you say USC? You throw that around. I'm thinking Gamecocks.
The one in California, Southern California.
You need to.
I need to clarify that. Yes. I understand. So I think that's probably about right. And when you go and look at the all-time records, really, that's about where Clemson is as far as their all-time record rank goes.
Yeah.
So I don't have any problem with being 22. If you're in the top 25, you've done something in your football program's history. So, yeah, no problem with that law.
803-978-1832 is the number. We've got some audio from Dabo Swinney we want to play for you here on the program tonight. And, of course, one of the great things about the college football season is, of course, the fact that this is a time that the coaches get a chance to talk with the members of the media, and we finally get to hear from Coach Dabo Swinney. And one of the biggest names and one of the conversations that people have consistently with us here on the program is about Mike Williams, Clemson's star wide receiver, who's going to be back in the fold this year for Clemson. Dabo Swinney spoke on that topic yesterday. Here's the audio.
For us, you know, he was back this spring. I mean, he really did everything this spring. We just didn't let him scrimmage, but he was knocked around and on the ground and dove and rolled. I mean, so in my mind, you know, it's really just picking up where he left off in the spring. But just to have him back, you know, ready to play is huge. I mean, he just changes the dynamics of the game from a defensive standpoint as far as how people try to defend you, because you gotta have an answer for number 7. So I think that. And then just the strength that he brings into our core, the numbers, the depth that we'll have. Deion has got great experience now. Obviously, he got a chance to play all last year and got some good experience. So, you know, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good duo right there, Mike Williams and a sophomore Deion Kane, who's been there and played and got some experience. Same thing with Ray and Artavis. You know, now you got a couple guys with some really good experience that are just. They're just better. And, so I'm excited about that, and Renfro and Travion and then those freshmen that'll be joining the mix. So he just brings a presence that we're excited to have back on the field.
Dabo Swinney talking about Mike Williams there. Of course, I would argue the single most talented wide receiver that Clemson's got. He's coming back after that neck injury, and boy, is it exciting. We're going to talk more about Mike Williams in an interesting little conversation coming up and get your thoughts on it as well. But, you know, you talk about this team, the depth, the breadth of talent. You start looking around the country. I was on Sports Talk Radio down in southern Georgia earlier today and kind of got asked the question about how talented this team is. How do they match up against Florida State? Well, Dabo Swinney was asked about how does this team maybe match up or rack up against some of the former Clemson Tiger teams that he's had in Tiger Town?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. We've had a lot of talented teams. People probably, maybe on paper, people who evaluate recruiting or whatever, you know, where they say, okay, well, you've got this amount of 4 stars or this amount of 5 stars. And so I don't know. Maybe somebody's looked at that. I have not. Maybe on paper it is from a sheer just ranking standpoint, but that doesn't equate to good football players. I know people like to think that is, but if that was the case, Tig Willard would have never been a player here. Quandon Christian, Adam Humphreys. You know, Adam Humphreys was a baller for 4 years here and beat out a lot of 4- and 5-star guys. So I don't get caught up in all that. I'm just looking for so whether or not it's the best team, the proof will be in the pudding when we go play and put a season under. And it's not necessarily, well, this team won this many wins and this team won that many wins. That's really not it either. I know that's an easy way to judge things, wins and losses, but there's a lot that goes into that. I think it's a good team. We got a good roster. We're talented. We don't have any excuses. We're young. We got some youth, but you know, I think that's fun.
Talking about youth, Dabo Swinney dives into some of those young bucks. You know, that's one of my favorite things is to think about these guys that come in that have so many high expectations and have done such a good job at the high school level. I just start to think, man, can't wait to see player X, player Y. Who's going to be that next guy, those young bucks? Dabo Swinney talked about them yesterday.
All those guys, I'm excited to see them for the first time, you know, really competing to have a chance to play. I mean, even the mid-years that were here this spring, that was fun seeing those 7 guys go through spring ball. I've got a pretty good comfort zone with those guys, having seen them. But it's different when you get into camp. It's just very different. When you're, you know, spring ball, you're practicing every other day. It's a slower tempo from an installation standpoint. You get into camp, it's a whole different deal. The mental grind of it, the physical grind of it, the overall competition with all the pieces here is something that I'm anxious to see how those guys handle. But the new guys coming in here, I'm excited to see them all. Specifically, it's good to get Xavier Kelly in here. I think we only had one more defensive end coming in, and so to get him in to give us another, you know, really big, athletic, strong body at that position, that's a positive.
I tell you what, you talk about Xavier Kelly. We had him on the program when he committed to Clemson. You start to go out there and look at some of the, not just football plays that this kid made in high school, but some of the plays he made as a basketball player as well. You know, you're kind of getting that freakish defensive end, but now getting a chance to get him in again. He didn't enroll early, but I think the Tigers liked what they saw and have liked what they've seen from him in just a little small window. And you know, he gives you a little bit more depth. It's young depth. But there's nothing wrong with being young if you're talented. I think Christian Wilkins will definitely attest to that. Speaking of Wilkins, we'll have some audio from big number 42 coming up here in hour number 2 of the program. Dabo Swinney, though, mentioned Tavian Feaster. He came in at about 220 pounds, maybe surprising. Is trimmed back a little bit. Actually bigger, weighs more than Wayne Gallman, a fast kid. Dabo Swinney talked about some of the impact that maybe this freshman running back might have in this Clemson Tiger system.
I think he won the 100 and 200 as a freshman, sophomore, and junior in high school, and would have won it this year, you know, had he been able to compete. Had surgery, so I mean, there's fast and then there's real fast, and he's real fast. And then you throw in the fact that he's about 208 pounds, a guy that's got a bright future. You know, he's got a lot to learn. He's got to go compete, and he's got some other good. We got a bunch of good players there. He just gives us, you know, a little something different.
Dabo Swinney talking about Tavian Feaster. I said 218. That's where he was when he got there. He's trimmed back a little bit. I think Dabo said 208 pounds there. 803-978-1832, your number. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show. A little bit presumptuous there by Dabo Swinney to believe that Tavian Feaster would have won the 100 and the 200 meters this year. Lowell, did you withdraw your name from that competition at the state level? I figured you were a shoo-in to win that.
No, I did. I wanted to give other people a chance. It wasn't fair for me to enter that competition.
Right.
So I want to give everyone else a chance.
Well, maybe I could win at running my mouth. That would be about it. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show, at Clemson Sports, by the way, if you want to be a part of the program on Twitter, you can follow us. We bring you Clemson news, notes, information, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The next clip, though, a little bit long from Dabo Swinney, but hey, you know what? You get to hear from the man. He makes the big bucks unlike the host of this program, and especially unlike the intern. Dabo Swinney talking about any concerns he might have headed into the 2016 campaign.
I don't really have a huge concern. I mean, there's nothing that I'm just at night going, oh my God. And I've been there before. You know, I've been in that situation before where I'm going, oh boy, I hope this doesn't happen, or hope, you know, just kind of keep your fingers crossed on some things, or just hoping that a guy might come through for you. But I don't. There's nothing that I think that keeps me up at night. But I think that we've got some fill in the blank spots, and probably the biggest thing would be, you know, our defensive end position. I think that we're strong inside. I think we're going to be better at linebacker because we got more guys that are going to be ready to play than we had last year. I love the competition, the speed, the athleticism that we're going to have in the secondary. We're just young and inexperienced at defensive end, and we have not been in that situation. It's been a while. We've always had, I mean, at least for this past several years, we've had a couple of salty dogs that's kind of been around, and this is a little different. You know, a couple of years ago, we're sitting there with Shaq and Dodd and Vic Beasley and Corey Crawford and Tavares Barnes, and we had a bunch of vets. And then last year, we had Shaq and Dodd, and then all freshmen. Yergin got a little bit of experience toward the end of the season. Austin got some decent experience, but that's really it. So, I mean, you know, that's probably the number one area where we got to kind of fill in some blanks. But I like what we've got on the roster. You know, I think that we've got good players, but we just don't have the numbers at that position that we do at some of these other spots. So I think they're going to do great. I think Austin Bryant and Big Clee and Rich and Register and Xavier and all those guys will be great. But we got a lot of coaching to do, and a lot of work to do with that group. But outside of that, I think that you know, we just got to go put the work in, pay the price all over again.
Dabo Swinney there, some audio clips for you. If you missed any of those, don't worry. We podcast every single edition of this program for you. That's right, every single edition of the show podcast. You can listen on the Overcast app. You can listen on the iHeart Radio app. You can also find us on the podcast app on your iPhone or even Android device. What, Lowell? I always forget it, so you got to help me out. What's the one we want to tell people about for the Android?
Podcast Addict.
Podcast Addict. So there you go. If you want to be a part of the show on an Android device, Podcast Addict is the way to go. 803-978-1832. I want to dive into an interesting conversation. You start talking about this Clemson wide receiver core this year and Mike Williams coming back and also Deion Kane coming back. Weigh in on this with us. Is this potentially a better 1-2 punch than what you have with Sammy Watkins and DeAndre Hopkins? We discussed that with you right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, also on the iHeart Radio app when we get back. It is the show that shakes the Southland, weeknights live from 316 Greystone Boulevard here in Columbia, South Carolina. For Lowell the Intern, I'm Lawton Swan. We're back in 3.
September 23rd and 24th at T-Mobile Arena. The legend returns to Las Vegas.
Once again,
it's our iHeart Radio Music Festival. 16 artists including U2, Florida Georgia Line, Billy Idol, Britney Spears, and more. Tickets are sold out. Win them starting Monday.
Brought to you by Macy's. Macy's presents your opening act at the iHeart Radio Music Festival. Rising star winner Los 5. For new music and exclusive content from Los 5 and other hot artists, check out M-Style Radio on iHeartRadio at iHeartRadio.com/MStyleRadio.
Don't drive all the way to Lexington. JC's Outdoors has everything you need for hunting and fishing. We have ethanol-free gas for your boat, the absolute best cured live herring around, and all kinds of bait and tackle. We sell guns and ammo too. Check out the store for brands like Yeti, Costa Sunglasses, AFCO, Habo, and more. We're open at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and serve breakfast and lunch. We are located 5 miles past Lake Murray Baptist Church on Highway 378 on the road to Larry Coon Landing. Check us out at the web at jcsoutdoors.net, where a fishtail is just a cricket away.
Columbia business owners, do you want to get your business in front of hundreds of new clients in just one afternoon? If you answered yes, then you need to be at the Carolina Bridal Showcase on September 18th. Meet face-to-face with engaged couples, book business on the spot, and network with other wedding pros. Don't miss this chance to get your business in front of the clients you're looking for. The Carolina Bridal Showcase. Reserve your space today at bridecityshows.com. That's bridecityshows.com.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
Shaking the Southland weeknights, Clemson Sports Talk, having a lot of fun on the Hurry Up No Huddle Sports Talk Express, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. I think we've got most of the issues ironed out. The only problem I foresee is the horsepower here of the MacBook Air in front of me. Chat room is open, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. We will keep our eyes over there. We know a lot of people, though, are hanging out with us live on Facebook as well, which is a very cool way. Listen, if you're listening to us on Facebook, do us a huge favor. People always say, Swanee, how can I help the brand? What can I do to help you out? How can I help you grow? One of the ways you could do that right now, go ahead and share the link to the show. Put it up on your Facebook page, share it. That'll let people know. And listen, you got a lot of Gamecock fans that peek over the fence at this program. You got a lot of Gamecock fans that don't think they would like this program. Well, I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. This show is not just about the Clemson listener or the Clemson ear. This is about the Gamecocks, Bulldogs, Yellow Jackets, Seminoles, everybody who resides in the Midlands and wants a sports talk home that calls it down the middle. Do I occasionally throw on the orange shades for Clemson? I'm sure I do. I'm sure some of you say, Swanee, you're the biggest sunshine pumper that's come through this town. Perhaps since, I don't know, Lowell, who's the biggest sunshine pumper that's come through Columbia in a while? Who really bolsters the conversation, in your opinion, towards one side or the other? Is there anybody you could think of in general? I was hoping to have, like, maybe Mr. Knows It. Would he be a sunshine pumper? He's always a guy who kind of gives a little bright view of things, but nonetheless, we're here with you hanging out. And I posed a question before the break, and I think it's an interesting one. And that is there a possibility, Lowell, that come the end of the college football season, if this Clemson Tiger offense kind of clicks, is there any chance, because I think we all look at DeAndre Hopkins and Sammy Watkins and those two guys with a lot of reverence up in Tigertown with the job that they did in this Clemson Tiger offense, but nonetheless, you've gone out and recruited bigger and better players through the years, and while maybe the expectations for a Mike Williams and a Deion Kane are perhaps even higher based on what Watkins and Hopkins were able to do for this team, and while position-wise they are eerily similar and perhaps will take snaps away from each other, is there a circumstance where maybe when they're out on the field that they're actually out there together? Deion Kane, it was mentioned, because of his suspension during the spring, had a chance to watch a lot of the alignment of every single wide receiver position. Dabo Swinney said, you know what, there were even moments where Deion was able to tell the starters at other spots that, hey, you know what, you're lined up wrong, you're a little bit too far inside the hash, etc. Might there be a circumstance where come January, we're looking at these two, and I'll use the terminology again. It comes from our dear friend of the program and a Clemson graduate himself, Mark Packer. Is there a chance that these two Frisbee-catching dogs come January might actually be, in the eyes of Clemson Tiger fans, a better 1-2 punch than Watkins and Hopkins?
Well, here's the thing that I think about Watkins and Hopkins. You think back to the 2011 season, Sammy Watkins coming in his freshman year, having the amazing season, kind of outshining Hopkins that year. And then you go forward to year 2012. Sammy gets in some trouble early, has some injury issues. Hopkins comes back, takes over, outshines Sammy, and then Hopkins is gone the next year.
Yeah.
So it was never like it never seemed like the two were in sync together, having their best years together.
Kind of like me and you on this program, never quite in sync.
Never quite there. But another thing, I think you're completely forgetting about Artavis Scott in this whole situation, who, if you go back to 2014, he almost had 1,000 yards to go with Mike Williams' 1,000-yard season. So I think he could be a factor in this race as well.
Well, and I'm not forgetting about anybody. I'm trying to keep the conversation as the 1-2 punch. Executive producer Rob Sanders steps in to give me a little kiss there on the back of the head, an awkward moment for those watching the program. Here's the thing, though, okay? When I look at it, and we should mention this about Sammy Watkins briefly as well. Not only did he have a spectacular freshman year, but he was one of now only 4 players in the history of college football as a freshman to be named an All-American. Along the same lines of a Herschel Walker. You've also had an Adrian Peterson do that. And then you had former Marshall Faulk, I believe, was the other one. 3 guys. He's the first wide receiver and the only wide receiver to ever be a freshman All-American. So that speaks volumes about how good he was. And as a matter of fact, Lowell, I think if you go back and think about that season, what Hopkins did his junior year becomes even more of a surprise for people, too, because of the fact that Sammy had been so good as a freshman. But do you think in conjunction, these two guys, the offense, and speaking of offense, I don't want to say, being offensive here to Taj Boyd, good friend of the program, but Williams and Kane have a better quarterback throwing them a ball. They have a better offense than Watkins and Hopkins dealt with, a better offensive line. That all around better. And you just mentioned another part of that system, having a third guy like Artavis Scott or Hunter Renfrow, on and on. Now, Williams and Kane typically play the same position, that 9 spot for Clemson. But Kane's going to maybe move around some, and not only does he give you speed, he gives you a little bit more size. And then all of a sudden, you're running out there 2 guys that are pretty tall, pretty lean, and pretty agile. And Mike Williams says he's even faster as well. And if you think about it, 2 years ago, who was Deshaun Watson's number 1 target? I mean, who was the guy that he got comfortable with? I mean, he was hooking up with Mike Williams left and right as if these 2 guys had played together since Pee Wee ball. And so you've got that also coming back into it. And I know you and I disagree on this, but I felt like Deion Kane became that comfort zone for Deshaun Watson last year in Mike Williams' absence. So all of a sudden, if you are Deshaun Watson and you're looking around, you're going, man, not only do I have my number 1 target from 2 years ago back, but now I'm getting my number 1 target back from last year. Clemson Craig chiming in via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line says, Sammy and Nuke, the difference is they didn't have number 4. And that's another point I'd like to make about it. Watson is, when you start talking about different levels of quarterbacks in Clemson's history, I mean, Watson's on this level nobody's really ever been at. I know old school Tiger fans like to point to Steve Fuller and the success that he had, and rightfully so in the 1978 offense against 1978 defenses. Steve Fuller was spectacular. You got Woodrow Dantzler there. You also got to talk about Taj Boyd as well. And nonetheless, you got to mention Rodney Williams because he's the winningest quarterback in Clemson history until Taj Boyd came along. But that is a big difference, in my opinion. That is a big difference, is the fact that these 2 guys have Watson spinning them the pill down the field, unlike Hopkins and Watkins, who I think were good enough that they made Taj Boyd even better.
I'm going to bring it to you from another perspective here. Because back in 2011, 12, 13, you did not have the type of rushing attack that you have right now. So statistics-wise,
right? Statistically,
I don't know if you're going to have another year with either one of these guys where they have the kinds of yards and touchdowns that Sammy and Nuke did in 2011 and 2012, because you're not going to get as many chances to do it. you are way more suited to throw the ball down the field. And there's not that you can't throw it down the field now, but you'd rather be a running team first. And that showed with Gallman going over 1,500 yards and Deshaun getting 1,100 yards on the ground. So I don't know if statistically they can have the same kind of impact.
Right.
But as far as ability, you may be able to look at it from that perspective and say, yeah, maybe.
803-978-1832, weigh in. Do you think there's a chance Williams and Kane may, at the end of this year, be kind of recognized as better wide receiver combo than Watkins and Hopkins? When we get back, you talk about a guy that might make a strange comeback to the NBA, one of which I don't remember. We're going to talk about that here on Clemson Sports Talk. Stay with us on Fox Sports Radio, also on iHeart Radio, YouTube, and Facebook.
This is David Height with Height's Barbecue. My family and I would like to say thank you for your support since 1957. We take pride in offering you tender, delicious barbecue, slow cooked over oak and hickory wood, along with hash, rice, slaw, and more. We offer it by the plate, sandwich for one, or enough for a large function. We're off Highway 1, only 3 minutes off I-26. Just remember, plates, sandwiches are by the pound. Heights is the best barbecue in town.
You're on Pit Stop Radio, and here's what real customers have to say about their pit stop.
Credit manager. When I'm in town, I always stop here. Go to the beach. That's where we're headed now, is to the beach. The pit stop gas prices are good. Chips and crackers, chocolate, Diet Pepsi, and beer. They're very nice. Very nice people. It's a good place to shop. 2 single women in their 50s headed to the beach. Yes, and party.
Want convenience without compromise?
Don't stop till you're at pit stop.
The chance for showers and thunderstorms will continue throughout the overnight hours with mostly cloudy skies. Waking up Thursday morning, temperatures in the low to mid-70s. Chance of showers and storms throughout Thursday afternoon. High temperatures 91 with mostly cloudy skies. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm meteorologist Michelle Rotella.
This report is brought to you by South Carolina Department of Insurance.
I'm Ray Farmer, Director of the South Carolina Department of Insurance, and I want you to be safe this storm season. Have a plan, make an emergency kit, and be prepared.
SC Scout says know your road to safety and enter to win iHeart Radio Music Festival tickets. Visit doi.sc.gov for more information.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Con los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.
Oh, yeah, Harlem shaking it up, man. Seems like it's been ages since that song had a little bit of a, I don't know. It was like one of the first viral songs. Remember, everybody would, like, do the little freeze, and then everybody was dancing. I know Clemson's campus and the student body there put something together like that. 803-978-1832. Chat room is open, clemsonsportstalk.com. Lowell, I have a question for you. This is going to sound a little bit a little bit rookie monster to the listener, but is Tar Hizzle on hold, or is that an old note in the things?
I believe that's an old note.
Okay, all right. Well, I wasn't sure. I didn't see you answer the phone, but I just trust what's in front of me, so I got to do what I can do here. You know, we talked about a comeback that is sort of a surprising one, one in which I don't really remember. And in fairness to the listener, I probably should have dug a little bit deeper on Magic Johnson's career in the NBA in terms of he coached the Lakers and did he play for them after that. I don't really remember. I should know. I'm a Laker guy. I'm a Magic guy. My favorite player of all time. I should remember, but that's kind of a trivia nugget that, perhaps people don't necessarily keep up with because Magic obviously more known for his career playing than his career coaching. Ex-New York Knicks head coach Derek Fisher, however, is considering playing again in the NBA. He hinted at a possible comeback as a player Tuesday night, posting a workout video with the hashtag I'm not done yet. According to sources, Fisher has indeed been exploring the option and expressing interest in playing again. it's already odd for me, Lowell, when these guys go from playing to immediately coaching the way Fisher did, the way Jason Kidd did. And we've seen player coaches in the past as well, not in recent memory, but that's happened in the NBA. But I don't remember a player, and if you will, Lowell, look up Magic Johnson to see his coaching and playing years in the NBA, because maybe Magic pulled this feat off. I think Fisher can do it. He's a defensive wildebeest. He is a hounder. Derek Fisher is the guy at the gym that's playing way too much defense. And again, he's getting paid money to do it, so rightfully so in the NBA. If you're doing that at the local YMCA, or if you're doing that in a pickup game, get a life, buddy. There's no need for that. But that's what Fisher is. He's a hounder, good lefty, not great. I think he's 39 years old, still got some legs left in him. He played in 32 games. Let's see. No, according to this, okay, Magic is the last man to return to play. I've got it right here. Why did I ask Lowell? I've got it right here in my notes. Magic was the last guy that actually did that. He played 32 games for the Lakers in 1995-96 after coaching the team for 16 games in 93-94. So Magic did pull this off, not nearly as quickly as Fisher is doing it. Magic, however, doesn't really surprise me because Magic Johnson is 6'9". Derek Fisher's just 6'1", 6'2". Fisher turns 42. I always forget that he's older than me because he and Kobe Bryant were drafted the same year. The difference was Kobe came right out of high school there in Philadelphia, and then you had Derek Fisher coming out of college as a senior. So he is actually a little bit older, though, 42. Lowell, what do you think? I mean, do you give D. Fish a chance to make a roster in the NBA as maybe a defensive stopper, a backup, a backup guard on some of these teams?
I'm sure someone will give him a chance. I don't think it's necessarily a good decision for his career. 42 years old. I don't think he can keep up with anybody in the NBA right now.
6'1", 18 years in the NBA for Derek Fisher. Helped the Lakers win 5 championships. How about this? Come back and play for the Golden State Warriors, win 2 more titles, and Derek Fisher will retire from the NBA with 7 championships, more than the great Michael Jordan. Does that beg the conversation? Is Derek Fisher the greatest player in my lifetime with 7 titles? Do I have to actually do we have to entertain that at all?
And here comes the problem with just counting championships.
Right. More than Magic, more than Michael, more than Kobe, more than Shaq, more than Tim Duncan. The beat goes on. Do you think Fisher, what would that be like? What if he came back and played for the Knicks, played with guys he used to coach? How do you think that goes over in the locker room? Not well?
I feel like there would be some chemistry issues at that point.
Perhaps. Fisher was fired as the coach of the New York Knicks on February 8th after a stretch of run of going 1-9. The Knicks were 40-96 during his year and a half as the head coach. I think I figured one thing out about Derek Fisher, Lowell. You may not want him to be your coach. That might be something. Maybe being the player is a better option for him, basically in any market. 803-978-1832. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show. Again, we led with Dabo Swinney audio. If you missed it, you can catch that through the podcast edition of the program. We may play a little bit of Dabo coming up later in hour number 2, but we've got Christian Wilkins audio for you as well. Man, what a guy. What an impressive interview with Christian Wilkins. Hard to believe this guy's just a sophomore. That's a true sophomore. I know Lowell doesn't like it, but the point nonetheless. I mean, this is a young guy just a year removed from high school. And, man, not only does he sound like $1 million, but he seems to know the ins and the outs of everything going on that defensive front. And I think it also leads you down the path of understanding why this defensive staff trusts him so much, potentially playing in multiple positions. You've got to be a sharp guy. I mean, you've got to be just all over it to kind of be able to play multiple positions and play them well. Christian Wilkins could potentially do that, but we'll let you know how Wilkins feels about that opportunity. I know as a fan of the game, many of you are excited about the fact that he gives you a little bit more depth. Maybe he gives you a little bit more of a beefy defensive front if you need him out there at defensive end in short yardage situations, etc. But how does Wilkins feel about that? We'll touch on that coming up here in just a little bit on the program. Yesterday we got into the fact that the AP had their top 100 teams of all time. Clemson came in at number 22. Gamecocks, listening to the program, peeking over the fence. Your Gamecocks came in at number 48 all time in the AP top 100 poll. But Colin Cowherd, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, predicted the Clemson Tigers to be the number 1 ranked team in the country coming out of the 2016 season. Not to start, but to finish. He feels like Clemson's going to be that. Fox Sports put out their preseason top 25 a little bit earlier today. We're going to get into that with you here on the program. We'll let you know where right here the Fox Sports Radio family ranks your Clemson Tigers as we move on through the program. The chat room is open, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Don't forget we are live on Facebook, also on Twitter as well, also on YouTube as well. But to be a part of the program on Twitter, it is at Clemson Sports. We got the Shadow of Death Valley, though, on the line. Wants to talk about Sammy Watkins, Nuke Hopkins versus Williams and Kane. Shadow of Death Valley, what's up, my man?
Hey, what's up, Swanee, man? All I got to say is Derek Fisher, just say no. Just give it up. Dude.
Right, okay.
I'm putting people on notice that, my services are available, too, as far as NBA goes. But I should get the same amount of phone calls as Derek Fisher. So, anyway. But, no, man, you're talking about the dynamic duos we're at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right now, it's an interesting conversation because I've honestly wondered in the off season here, man, Mike Williams is getting so much love. And don't get me wrong, I love to do it myself. But, to me, I don't put him in the same category as Nuke or Sammy. And maybe that's just a function of, we only got to see him for a little bit here and there as a freshman when Taj was still here. And then we got to see, 2 years ago, obviously, he did very well with Deshaun coming on board. But to me, he's not in the conversation right now, although if you look at all the national pundits, that they're lining him up as a first-round NFL pick next season. So, and then you throw in Kane. To me, he's got obviously all the potential in the world. And
sure.
He came on the back half of the season. But it's just, right now, it's hard for me to put him into that category either. As Nuke or Sammy.
Hey, Shadow, man, I hate to cut you off, brother, but we are hitting up against a break, but I respect the opinion absolutely. We'll touch on that when we get back. Plus, I'm not a big fan of second-place banners. We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. Stay with us.
September 23rd and 24th at T-Mobile Arena. The legend returns to Las Vegas. Once again, it's our iHeart Radio Music Festival. 16 artists including U2, Florida Georgia Line, Billy Idol, Britney Spears, and more. Tickets are sold out. Win them starting Monday.
Brought to you by Macy's. Macy's presents your opening act at the iHeart Radio Music Festival. Rising star winner Los 5. For new music and exclusive content from Los 5 and other hot artists, check out M-Style Radio on iHeartRadio at iHeartRadio.com/MStyleRadio.
Hi, we're Russell and Kim Mack with Mack Heating and Cooling.
When was the last time you had a trained, certified technician tune up your home air conditioning system?
It may be why the temperature and the electric bills are going up in your home.
For replacement, repairs, or low-cost, twice-a-year maintenance plans, call Mack at 996-4791.
Online at mackheatingandcooling.com. No interest financing options are available on replacement units.
Call Mack and get your cool back.
Hi, my name's Tim Forehand. I'm a deputy sheriff. In my job, keeping in shape is important. I've tried other products to get my weight down, but nothing has worked like Android 400. In just 3 months, I've dropped 51 pounds, down from 230 to 179. Plus, the weight's come off in the stomach area. I've gone from a snug 36-inch waist to a 32-inch waist, which I was in high school. I highly recommend the Android 400 to all my friends.
Guys,
Are you frustrated because no matter how hard you try, it seems impossible to lose stubborn belly fat? Then discover why thousands of men each month rely on Andro 400. Lose belly fat, gain energy and confidence, and feel great about yourself. Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
Shaking the Southland, weeknight, Fox Sports Radio 1400, the iHeart Radio app, Facebook, and YouTube live streaming. High definition on YouTube, Roku, Amazon TV, smart televisions, Apple TV. You can watch it there, and it's kind of scary, I'll be honest with you. I go home every once in a while just to make sure the quality of the audio and things are good on YouTube, and my head is actually bigger than it is in real life. It's probably a good thing in some ways. Facebook video, we've kind of dammed it down just a little bit to help out with some of the power that it was running. I hope you guys are watching the show. We get a lot of interaction on Facebook. Facebook.com/Clemson Sports Talk. You can watch the show there as well. The song playing on the background, that's Trophies. You know we play in college. We play the beach music hits during Clemson Sports Talk in the summer while the colleges are on vacay. But when we come back hitting that hip-hop music, that's important to us because it's college football season. Nonetheless, trophies, one of the things I've always had some discontent with schools. Clemson, South Carolina, and anybody else. I think it is embarrassing to hang up division championships when you don't win the conference title. I really do, because if you win the division and you lose the conference championship game, you didn't do all that much. Let's face it. You didn't do all that much. You might have had a good year, but a division crown for me is not something that you put up as a success. You got something done, not enough. I don't like the fact that Clemson has those division titles listed in their stadium. I don't like the fact that South Carolina has them listed in their stadium. But inside Clemson's indoor practice facility, they have some banners hanging there. They list ACC championships. They also list the Atlantic Division championships. Clemson won the Atlantic Division in 2009, 2011, 2012, and 2015. And inside the practice facility, I'm going to be honest with you because that's what I am. I'm an honest guy. Inside the indoor practice facility, I don't have a problem putting those up. I really don't. Because when you bring a recruit in, you want to showcase the things you have done to be successful. And winning your division is certainly a success. I don't want it in the stadium, though. But Clemson also put up a college football playoff national semifinalist banner inside the practice facility. And much like the divisional banners inside the practice facility, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a perfect addition. It's got the logo of the college football playoff, etc. on there. That's just enhancing the brand. That's saying to recruits, look where we've been, look where we're going, look where we're going to continue to be. Second place is the first loser. We know that. That you learn that early in life. Although I find it pretty amazing, Lowell, that when you ask people this riddle, if you're running in a race and you pass the individual in second place, what place are you in? Hundreds of people will tell you first place. You're actually in second. You passed the second place guy. He's now in third. You're in second. Riddle over. You still got to pass the first place guy. And there are probably some people listening to us tonight that just went, yeah, man, you're in first place. No, you're in second. That's kind of along the same lines of the old riddle where you have a child and their father get killed in a car wreck, and they go to the hospital. And when they get to the hospital, the doctor walks in and says, I can't work on this patient. Well, the little child lives. The doctor walks in and says, I can't work on this patient. It's my daughter. And most people go, was the kid adopted? Is it a stepdad? No, the doctor's the mom. The doctor's the mom. It just shows how a lot of people, unfortunately, we are pre-programmed to think doctors are men, which is insane that that's the way our minds work, but it does, sadly. I don't have a problem with the national finalist banner hanging inside the practice facility. But, Lowell, let me tell you something I will have a problem with. I will have a problem waltzing into Death Valley and seeing something like that put up. Because that's not the championship. That's not the trophy. That's not the goal. And I think the things you put up inside your stadium need to be the trophies, need to be the goals, need to be the championships and the things you bring home. You want to put this kind of stuff, second place, runner-up, whatever, national finalist, inside a practice facility that you and the team and recruits can enjoy? Yes. But if you said to me, Swanee, should Clemson have a national finalist banner inside Death Valley in some way, shape, or form representing the success of the 2015 campaign? I would absolutely say no to that.
Now I'll say this. Maybe not have a trophy that says national finalist. Maybe that's not good, but I wouldn't have a problem with 2015 Orange Bowl champion.
But right now inside the stadium, you don't recognize any other Orange Bowl championships or any other bowl championships. Now, in fairness, Lowell, you're probably too young for this because I know you're a young buck, much like the freshmen on campus. Outside of Death Valley on the Clemson University police station, I don't believe it's still there, but many years ago, they used to have every single bowl victory up. They had these blue sort of placards. They had the bowl game and the score. It was actually the victories of all the bowl wins. And if you wanted to bring back something like that, I am fairly certain it's not there today. I don't remember. I actually don't look up there that much. I'm pretty sure it's not. If you want to bring back something like that outside of the stadium to kind of track your history, or even when you think about the concourse area now where they have those types of things, you want to put that up in the concourse that you won the Orange Bowl or any bowl games that you won. I'm fine with that. But at some point, you've really got to limit. For one thing, there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room. And I just don't think that you should put up a banner inside your stadium when you didn't win the ultimate prize. Because winning the ultimate prize and being the national champions, like that 1981 team, they deserve to have something extra. I know they're already in the Ring of Honor, but that should be reserved for champions only, in my opinion.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I think that the Orange Bowl was a bigger bowl game than any other bowl game that you've played in because of the fact that it's a national semifinal game. And there's only going to be a certain number of teams that are going to make it that far, and then even less teams are going to actually win that game. So I think that I wouldn't have a problem with putting some kind of recognition of that feat in the stadium.
803-978-1832. If you want to weigh in on this topic, your thoughts. I don't know that it's necessarily a hot button issue, but I have a feeling if you walk into Death Valley, the first game of the season at home, and there is some sort of recognition of last year's visit to the college football championship game, that there are going to be, and I don't know how many people, there are going to be people that are like me, like I would be, scratching my head going, hold up, what? We didn't win it all. We didn't do anything more than Oklahoma, than Michigan State, Did Southern Cal, Texas, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, you pick the school. Clemson didn't do anything more than those teams last year in terms of hardware to show off inside your stadium. Winning a semifinal playoff game, in my opinion, it's a big deal, but it's not, hey, let's put up a banner about it inside our stadium. Let's mark that history. You want to put up a banner in that stadium? You know what you do? You go out and bring home the big hardware. Instead of losing 45-40, you win 47-45. Then you know what we'll do? We'll put up banners inside the stadium. Until then, let's reserve those for exactly where it is right now, which is the indoor practice facility. Clemson Sports Talk, top of the hour, back at 7:01. Stay with us.
If your home has foundation issues, you should call 1-866-668-7335 now. A local company, Southeast Foundation and Crawl Space Repair, offers no-cost consultations, a lifetime transferable warranty, and they'll meet or beat any price out there. Call Southeast Foundation and Crawl Space Repair now. 1-866-668-7335. That's 1-866-668-7335. Or go to scfoundations.com.
You're on Pit Stop Radio, and here's what real customers have to say about their pit stop.
I'm an operations manager at a major department store. I have to go out and catch Fireflies games. I come to Pit Stop once a week, twice a week. I get a 12-ounce Red Bull. They're 2 for $5.34 all year round. For 2, I think that's a real good price. I choose Pit Stop because it's convenient, it's easy to get to, it's on my way to work, and they got a lot of variety. I really enjoy that.
Want convenience without compromise?
Don't stop till you're at Pit Stop.
When it's time to replace your roof, it is a big decision. Hey, it's Lawton Swan for Lakeside Construction of Columbia. Why choose Lakeside? They have an A on Angie's List and also with the Better Business Bureau. And they are an Owens Corning preferred contractor. They do a free damage inspection and they work on your behalf with the insurance company. Call Lakeside Construction of Columbia today at 358-0109 or on the web at lakesidecola.com. Lakeside Construction of Columbia, your local insurance roof replacement specialist. lakesidecola.com.
Columbia business owners, do you want to get your business in front of hundreds of new clients in just one afternoon? If you answered yes, then you need to be at the Carolina Bridal Showcase on September 18th. Meet face-to-face with engaged couples, book business on the spot, and network with other wedding pros. Don't miss this chance to get your business in front of the clients you're looking for. The Carolina Bridal Showcase. Reserve your space today at bridecityshows.com. That's bridecityshows.com.
I'm KFC's Extra Crispy Colonel, and you're the extra busy regular person who has to make dinner for a family of 4. But you can shirk that responsibility because my Extra Crispy $20 fill-up from KFC contains 8 pieces of freshly double-breaded extra crispy chicken, 4 biscuits, 2 orders of mashed potatoes, and a side of coleslaw for just $20. That'll feed them. KFC, it's extra crispy good.
Pricing and participation may vary. Tax and substitutions extra.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
No idea how to find each other.
My husband kept the kids occupied.
Calling our son, but there was no reception. Everything was down.
I felt like we handled everything very well.
I had to try and stay calm.
The whole experience was fine.
Was the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
It was kind of like a little family adventure.
Every mother hopes will never happen to her.
I remember the relief of being together.
I realized he was out there all alone.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
From the TrueCar.com studios, the new way to buy a car. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeart Radio.
Fox Sports Trending now.
The opening ceremony isn't until Friday, but competition at the 2016 Summer Olympics already underway as we speak, with the U.S. women's soccer team leading New Zealand 1-0 at halftime on a goal by Carly Lloyd in the 9th minute. Earlier today, the International Olympic Committee voted to add 5 sports to the Olympic program, beginning with the 2020 Summer Games in Tokyo. They are baseball, softball, karate, skateboarding, sports climbing, and surfing. In Major League Baseball today, the Marlins led the Cubs 4-2 going into the bottom of the ninth, but the Cubs rallied to tie it, and then...
Now the 0-1. Way outside. It's a wild pitch. Here comes the winning run. Cubs win. Matt Caesar scores the winning run. Cubs win it by a score of 5-4.
Pat Hughes with a call on Cubs Radio. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set. Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's primetime right here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Lawton Swan, our chat room, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Live on YouTube for your Roku, Android, Amazon. I guess you can watch it on your Android or your iPhone if you want. I'm trying to think of your home media streaming devices. You can watch us in high definition there, or you can check us out on Facebook. Really enjoying the addition of having the show on Facebook for sure. 803-978-1832 is the number. Text us thanks to our friends at the Caribbean Resort and Villas. That text line, 803-450-0086, just 31 days away from your Clemson Tigers kicking off the football season, 29 days for the Gamecocks, and 24 days away from the college football opener, Cal versus Hawaii in Sydney, Australia. At Edward Shump 33 on Twitter, he says, Swanee, I agree. Keep the second place banners in the practice area, but print them in the game day magazines for home games. That's exactly what I'm saying. You don't need those banners inside Death Valley. You can have them in the practice facility to celebrate that, because if you just start putting up runners-up banners inside the stadium, you know what? Eventually, if you're good enough, you're going to have to take them down, because the ultimate prize is the national title, and I don't want to celebrate second place.
Let me ask you a question. What was the bigger game? What was the more important game, the ACC Championship or the Orange Bowl? Because if we're going to put up a banner for the ACC Championship, I'd argue that the Orange Bowl was the more important game.
Not really, because if you lose the ACC Championship game, you're not in the Orange Bowl.
But the Orange Bowl is the game that actually puts you into the national championship. And you got a trophy for it. You got a championship trophy out of it.
The ACC Championship, though, equally, a loss there, you're not in the national championship.
Yeah, but
that is a title.
I don't think the ACC Championship is the game. There's times when obviously the ACC Championship is going to be more important than the bowl game. But the bowl game, the Orange Bowl last year,
yeah,
you're playing against one of the top 4 teams in the country.
Sure.
In a game that the winner moves on to the national championship. With North Carolina, with all due respect to North Carolina, you knew you were the better team than them, and you knew you were probably walking out with the win. So I don't think the stakes were as high or the pressure was on as much in the ACC Championship as it was in the Orange Bowl.
That's fair, because the stakes and the momentum and the price of the game, I guess, get bigger and better each and every time. But the biggest stakes game of all, you will agree, was the national championship, and you didn't win that. And I just don't see putting up a banner or a national runner-up trophy or flag or whatever inside the stadium.
But if you lose in the Orange Bowl, you aren't in the national championship either.
What?
So
the same could be said again for the ACC championship, right?
You can go in circles with that argument if you want to. My argument is that the Orange Bowl was the bigger and more important game than the ACC championship was. And so I think that deserves – you don't have to put national runner-up. You put Orange Bowl champions, national semifinal winner, whatever you want to put. It has nothing to do with the national championship. It has to do with the fact that you made it to the playoff, which only 4 teams did.
Yeah.
And you won a game which only 2 teams did.
What about the Orange Bowl championship from a couple of years ago with Watkins and
you're not putting that up for a loss. You're not putting up a banner for a loss.
No, I'm talking about the victory over Ohio State in the Orange Bowl.
But that bowl game wasn't getting you to a national championship. That was just the end of the season. The stakes were bigger in this Orange Bowl than they've ever been in any Clemson game, other than obviously the national championship game in 1981.
But was the national championship game not the biggest game of the year?
Sure. I'm not saying put up a banner for losing that game. I'm saying put up a banner for winning the Orange Bowl.
For winning a semifinal game.
Sure. Why not? How many teams in the whole college football landscape are actually going to win a national semifinal game? It's not going to be many. It's going to be the same 10, 15, 20, 25 teams all the way down the line for a long time to come. So this is an accomplishment that you've gotten here that not a lot of teams are going to be able to say that they've done.
Well, and at this point, only Oregon, Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson have won a semifinal game. I mean, those are the only teams that have done it. But again, I just don't know that you go throwing up a banner. And I don't have a problem with what's in the practice facility. And I'll read to you the exact, the wording on the indoor practice facility banner. It says, College Football Playoff National Finalist 2016, and it's got the national championship logo. So, again, I don't know that that's something that I would want to see inside the stadium. Inside a practice facility, great. On the side of a building somewhere, sure. You're already going to put up a tombstone for it, and rightfully so. You're going to put up a tombstone for that victory over Oklahoma because it was a victory over, as you mentioned, a top 4 team on a neutral site. Those get, kind of, I guess, memorialized in a way inside of the cemetery, if you will, for Clemson Tiger football victories. But I'm not a fan of, in singular, putting that out there because, again, I understand there's going to be a banner for the ACC title. That victory over North Carolina, there's going to be the number, the year, I guess 2015 will be up under that part of the stadium. I don't even know where you would begin to put these things inside the stadium. I really don't, unless you started to put it on the, just above the East End Zone scoreboard where they used to list the ACC championships on that screen or that mesh that they have, kind of blocking you from being able to see the speakers inside Death Valley. Maybe you could start to list things like that there, but I'm not really in favor of it. I'll be honest with you. Cleveland man's on the line with us tonight, wants to chime in on the conversation. Cleveland man, your thoughts?
Let it fly, Swanee. Let it fly. Some kid can come around one day and say, wow, Clemson played for a national championship in 2016. A lot of people don't know Clemson history. You know what I'm saying? You come in that stadium and say, wow, they've been there. You never know when we're going to go back. It's not guaranteed this year. That's what I'm saying. Let it fly. You got the ACC championship. You've got that championship against Oklahoma in the bowl game down in Orange. That's the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
And then the national championship flag. Runner-up. Yeah, it's runner-up, so I'll just let it fly. I'm serious. You never know who's going to come. You see, hey, this team is progressing. And you look at it, like when Dabo lost the BCS game, 70-33. He came back and won a BCS game. He lost the national championship game. This year, we've got a chance to win the national championship game. Let it fly. Swanee, a couple questions for you.
Yeah, man. If I can answer them.
Why is it that Oklahoma's still in the top 5 and 10? What's about this team, number one? And number two, is Harper still on the team? Did he come back or what?
All right, we'll touch on all of that stuff, Cleveland man. Hey, I appreciate the phone call. Touching on briefly, because I know we got another call that wants to dive into this situation here with the banner and stuff. Oklahoma, man, they're going to stick around. They're loaded. And as for Jamon Hopper, yeah, he left the team. He's not a part of the team right now, although there have been some social media, fodder that says that maybe he's trying to make his way back into the good graces. I don't know how much of that I would buy into. Slim to none on that front. But Cleveland, man, in the court of Lowell the intern, he says, let it fly. Again, I don't have a problem in the practice facility. One point, though, I would like to make to you, Lowell, about that matchup against Ohio State. And Cleveland, man, triggered my memory on that. That was a BCS Bowl victory. Is that not of importance that should be honored and recognized in the stadium as well if we're going to put up this semifinal or final game loss? I mean, this was a victory in a BCS bowl game. Would you not put that in as well if you were going to do something like that?
You keep bringing it back to the national championship loss. I'm just talking about the Orange Bowl win. You keep circling back to this like I'm saying I want a national runner-up banner. No, I want the fact that you were in the national semifinal and you won that game. That's the recognition that I want for this team because, like you said, you never know. You might not get back there for another 20 years. You have no idea. Now, I don't think that's the case, but you don't know if you're going to get back there or not. I think that's a special accomplishment that you managed to accomplish.
Okay, so here's what I will agree with. I will agree with you on this. I'm going to bend here just a little bit because the banner inside the practice facility is talking about the national finalist.
Oh, I know what that banner's talking about. I'm talking about a different banner.
But you agree there should be one for the Orange Bowl victory over Ohio State as well. That was a BCS Bowl win.
Sure, if they want to honor that team, that's a big time bowl win. Now, I obviously this Orange Bowl I think was way bigger, which is why I'm making the argument for it.
Yeah.
But I guess if you wanted to make the argument for that game, you could.
Positive Mike in our chat room says it's not going in the stadium. Calm down. So Positive Mike kind of agrees with me that that's not going to happen. O-Line is on the line with us tonight. O-Line, your thoughts, my man?
What's going on, Clem Swan?
Making it, brother, making it. What's up?
Hey, I think if you're going to fly that banner in the stadium, you need to print it on the toilet paper throughout the stadium so that everybody, fans and players, will keep the dream alive. So I'm with you on it. I don't, if you make it to the Orange Bowl, you win the Orange Bowl, and you fly the Orange Bowl. If you go beyond the Orange Bowl and lose, that's it. I mean, and, I never was a big fan of anything that even the 11-1 rings or whatever. So,
right.
But anyway, getting back to what you had earlier, the quarterbacks, as far as the two receivers you got coming up
right.
versus, I've always been of the opinion that the receivers are the ones that make the quarterbacks great.
Okay. Fair.
Even back with Fuller, I mean, he had Jerry Damn Butler, and I say damn because every time I watched the game, and I'm like, Jerry Damn Butler.
Right.
He just caught, Ty Ellis with Sterling Sharp and Robert Brooks, and Bradshaw with Swan and Stallworth. The receivers make the imperfect throws catchable. And I've always been that the receivers are the ones that made the quarterbacks great. In Watson's case, it's there's a few that fit into that. I think Watson has the ability to make the receivers great. So when this year is over, if it all goes as well as everybody thinks it will, I think Watson will make those two receivers better than Sammy and Newt.
O-Line, appreciate you peeking over the fence, my man. 803-978-1832. Shifting gears from the conversation about the banners. We don't know if there will be one inside the stadium or not, but lots of fodder there. If you want to dive in, you can. 803-978-1832. Or you can call, or you can text us, thanks to our friends at the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line, 803-450-9899. 0086, 803-450-0086. Christian Wilkins yesterday after practice. You want to talk about a kid who you can tell by the conversation with him gets it. Christian Wilkins met with members of the media to talk about this Clemson Tiger football team and not only these Tigers in general, but he kind of dives into early in the conversation about some of these young guys and the way they've played. I'll tell you what, I like this kid on the field, but the more I hear from Christian Wilkins, the more I like him off the field as well. Here's what Wilkins had to say about some young guys who were showing out day one at camp.
I think Niles and Dexter, those are two very good guys, and they're not really new, but they're freshmen, so they've definitely caught my attention on things they do. And out here, Trayvon Mullen today, I think he just worked hard, just got out here and competed. I mean, he just definitely looked good. I hope he could bring that every day.
Now, I don't think Christian Wilkins means this in the same way that I was talking about a little bit earlier as far as last year maybe not being something that was of importance, because it certainly was. But he definitely lets these guys know, hey, you know what happened last year, it really doesn't matter. It's all about what happens this season.
A lot of the veterans are trying to tell the young guys, like, that's all last year, that's all in the past. We got to bring it's a new team this year. We got to bring a focus every day, ready to get better and ready for a new season.
And finally, from Christian Wilkins yesterday afternoon after practice, you think about the way last season ended. As good as it was, the confetti that was falling was not for the Clemson Tigers. Here's what Wilkins, what a beast mode cowboy this kid is. Here's what big number 42 had to say about the finish of this season compared to last year.
Just finished with no regrets. I mean, last year, obviously, the way we ended, we all were hurt, and this year, the video he played, it started off the same way. It started with finishing no regrets, and it ended that way too. Just really give it our all every day, every practice.
And Christian Wilkins, a guy that everybody was really excited about when the news came out about him potentially playing at defensive end, and rightfully so. As I mentioned earlier, when you're getting into like a goal line package or you're down deep in the red zone and you're worried that a team might be able to rush the football on you and you're trying to maybe avoid that inside the 5-yard line, I think you might see him at defensive end more than many people may even expect. I don't know how much you'll see it from him at the 50, but I think down in the red zone, deep in your own territory, he's a guy you probably want in there for multiple reasons. The athleticism, the strength, the leverage, and just everything that he brings to the table. But Wilkins said this after practice yesterday. He said, and I quote, "Truthfully, I'm hoping I can just play D-tackle. I'll obviously go out there and do my best if I'm playing end, but I hope those ends out there get a chance and they do what they have to do to take care of business so there's no drop-off from last year." So it doesn't sound like Christian Wilkins is all that interested in diving into the defensive end spot if he can avoid it. Sounds like he's happy being at home, and wouldn't you like to see that 300-pound monster lining up beside about a 342 pounds Dexter Lawrence, the true freshman for the Tigers, at defensive tackle. Should be a lot of fun no matter what. And I'm not sure that Dan Brooks and Brent Venables, they knew what they were getting last year with Christian Wilkins. I just don't know if they knew that they would be able to parlay that into another guy right on the heels of him like Dexter Lawrence. And now you've solidified that defensive line for the future with a couple of true freshmen that are going to be able to come in and play. Wilkins last year and Lawrence this season.
Hey, I've got a little bit of news here. We'll kind of tease it a little bit. We'll break it next segment. It has to do with Auburn football and one of their players in a little bit of trouble here.
Oh, okay. So Lowell the intern going to fill us in on that when we get back with Clemson Sports Talk right here on Fox Sports Radio, iHeart Radio, live on YouTube and Facebook as well. That's video feeds for you. Stay with us here. We'll be back in 3.
This is Michael David from Seattle. I'm 51 years old, and 6 months ago, I started taking Andro 400 to increase my testosterone. Since then, I've lost 35 pounds of fat, and my waist went from size 38 to size 32. I have more energy, and I look and feel 20 years younger. And now my wife tells me I have to take Andro 400.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds, and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400, and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Andro 400, the natural way to increase testosterone, lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great. Try Andro 400, the safe, effective, affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Come to the Little Mountain Reunion August 5th and 6th, South Carolina's oldest folk festival. Entertainment for the whole family. Live music Friday night. Saturday, Roadrunners race 7 a.m., parade 10 a.m., political speeches 11 a.m., and more live music Saturday afternoon and evening, including bluegrass, classic rock, and beach music. All through the day Saturday, there'll be arts and crafts, rides for the kids, food, and in the evening, beer and wine. Admission is free. Please, no coolers or golf carts. Find us on Facebook. Little Mountain Reunion. That's Friday and Saturday, August 5th and 6th. See you on the mountain.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 5454 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 5454.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Kane is in the building.
Shaking the Southland weeknights, Fox Sports Radio 1400, the iHeart Radio app. It is the Waffle House of Clemson sports coverage, scattered, smothered, and covered, but we keep you updated on everything going on major in sports. That's our role, and we appreciate you hanging out with us every single day from 6 to 8. And if you can't be here live, that's why we podcast the program. We allow you to be a part of the show at your leisure on your time, because I understand the importance of hashtag being dad. I understand the importance of being mom and having kids and needing to take care of business at home, but you still want to be a part of this program, so we allow you to do that through the podcast editions of the show. I think it's a fantastic way for you to engage in conversations with us still. You can also get the Wave app. It is free. It's a voice app where we can leave you messages. You can leave us messages. We can work you into the program. We've had a lot of people chiming in on social media. We'll get to those conversations coming up here in a few minutes. But if you're a fan of this show, go ahead and get the free Clemson Sports Talk app for iPhone and Android devices. You heard it, folks. It is free. Download it today. Over 9,500 installs there. What a great way for you to participate in our chat room, learn more about our sponsors. And you know what? One of the things that makes this show unique, because we podcast it and because that's where we've started, we are in some ways funded by our listeners. If you like our work, support our work, head over to ClemsonSportsTalk.com right now. Click on the link there on the front page, and you can become a patron of this program. You can give $1 a month. You can give $10 a month, 20 or more. Maybe if you're a multimillionaire, Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening and you want to give $1 million a month to this program just because you think that's hilarious, we'll happily accept it. You can do all of that through Patreon, and all of the links that you need to do that are over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. As a matter of fact, Lowell, you're going to be excited about this news, because you and I have a a little agreement right now about how you can make a little coin here on the program because, again, I know you think I'm Colin Cowherd, Lowell. I know you think I'm better than him, even though he leads in our program. Yeah, he's a pretty good guy. He does a decent job with his program. But you and I have an agreement about your financial particulars here on the program. One, you can sell some advertising for the show and make a little coin. That's always available. But the other option is what? Do you recall exactly?
I can't remember the exact number. But
well, these are important things you might need to know because what if we surpass the number and you didn't pay attention?
Well, I just assumed you would be an honorable man and let me know if you passed the number.
Well, you know what they say about assuming things, Lowell, but nonetheless, go on, carry on, sir.
I have to look up the exact number, but I know if it hits a certain number of funds per month on Patreon that I get a little bit of a cut.
Yes, and so we had another donor come in to support the program yesterday, as a matter of fact, came in at the $20 level. So I'm trying to find, I believe it was Jamie. I was trying to find, though, the exact last name. I can't find it right now during the show, but I will dig that up. So, yeah, new sponsor or a new supporter coming in at $20 a month, and anybody that supports us at more than $10 a month gets every single Clemson Sports Talk shirt that we produce. So when we put out a new shirt, we'll send you one of those shirts. All right, Lowell, you teased some breaking news down on the plains of Auburn. What's the latest out of Gus Malzahn's camp?
Gus Malzahn has dismissed senior running back Javon Robinson, who was the presumed starter this season. And this is incredibly big because Peyton Barber left school to go to the NFL last season. He was the starter last year. Javon Robinson, however, in the final 5 of last 6 games of the season, he had rushed for 90 yards or more. He was kind of cutting into Peyton Barber's role in the bowl game, the Birmingham Bowl against Memphis. He won MVP, rushed for 126 yards. So this was a guy who was going to have an incredibly big role for Auburn this season, and he's gone.
Wow, I mean, that's huge news. Not only that, I saw one of the things that Gus Malzahn put out said, and I quote, he said that we are not going to have distractions on this team this year. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want to say that's a big step for Gus Malzahn necessarily, but you'll remember how critical we were of him earlier this year when the 4 players were announced were not going to be suspended at all. I mean, this is absolutely taking a stance, and in my opinion, the right stance that more coaches need to have the onions to do. So running back Javon Robinson dismissed. Malzahn saying, again, this year there will be no distractions. So that news just breaking out of the plains of Auburn. Kudos to Gus Malzahn for his willingness. And I know, look, it's easy to say, right, when you're the Clemson Tigers and you've got to go down there and take on the Auburn Tigers to open up the season. It's easy to say kudos to a coach for suspending the guy that was projected to be the starting running back. They have red flags now at quarterback and running back coming into this game against the Clemson Tigers, where the Tigers are, oddly enough, as secure as perhaps they've ever been at quarterback and running back coming into a season. This is significant news from Auburn coming today.
Well, I'm going to assume now that James Franklin III, who is one of those quarterbacks in the quarterback competition for Auburn, he's probably going to get the start now because he's the more mobile of the quarterbacks. And without Javon Robinson in there to take some of the load off, he's going to have to carry more of that. So look for Franklin to become the starter for Auburn.
There you go, Lowell, the intern, breaking the news. That's why we like having him here on the program. He'll be here with us on Wednesdays and Fridays for the duration until, you said August 31st, Lowell, and that's when you'll be here every single day moving forward for a while? Is that the right date?
No, after this week.
Oh,
August 31st is when I start class again.
Oh, okay. So until August 31st. Okay. So I got that right. I didn't get it right, but we got it straight. All right, David is on the line, wants to talk with us a little bit about recruiting tonight. David, what's up, man?
What's up? Yeah, real quick, I just want to team in the country is going to have an offensive line good enough to run a read option without their middle of their line getting broken down and busted over. I Christian Wilkins and Carlos Watkins and Scott
Right.
Pagano. Lawrence. I mean, I just don't like Georgia Tech. I mean, they're done. Like they're no quarterback is going to be able to think quickly enough to make a decision on whether to keep it or hand off or do it. And the fullback's going nowhere but backwards. So, like that offense is not going to work against Clemson with this stout interior defensive line. Having said that, what year did Deshaun Watson? What recruiting class was that? Was that 14?
Let's see. This is 2000. I hate having to count this stuff back. This is the 17 class coming, 16, 15. So, yeah, I believe it would have been 2014.
All right, so tell me this, because, I mean, I got a pretty short memory. Like, I don't recall.
Me and you both.
I don't really recall a college football team having the number one quarterback in the country in 2014, 2017 with Hunter Johnson, and 2018 Trevor Lawrence, because mark it down, he's a Tiger, baby.
Oh, I hear you, David. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. You know, we talked about Trevor Lawrence yesterday. No, you don't typically see guys stack things up like this, and Lawrence down, he's a 2018 guy. I know David's phone broke up there for a minute. He's a 2018 kid out of, I believe, Cartersville, Georgia. I think that's the name of the town. Nonetheless, I mentioned yesterday, it's kind of like a roller coaster right now. He might make his decision before the end of the week. He may hold off. There's a lot of speculation going on with this kid, but even some that now may even show that he's trending towards Clemson. And boy, you talk about it, Lowell. I think he's absolutely right. You know, when you start to go back and look at cycles of classes where teams have gotten top quarterbacks back-to-back, I think Tim Tebow and Cam Newton down at Florida a few years ago in back-to-back classes, that's one example of it happening, but it does not happen much. We're back in 3 on Fox Sports Radio. Stay with us.
All day long, you're stuck at your desk, toiling over numbers, trapped behind spreadsheets. But while you're making those stacks...
Man, that dude is making us money. Big breaking news.
Breaking news.
Sports news could be breaking at any moment.
This is the big story in sports. We're all over it.
With a free iHeart Radio app, you could listen to your favorite station all day, anywhere you are. Just go to iHeartRadio.com or use our free iHeart Radio app.
Skip the hotel and stay in a Rent Like a Champion vacation home on your visit to Clemson. Rent Like a Champion, as featured on ABC's Shark Tank, has dozens of homes available that will allow you to stay with family and friends under one roof, tailgate in your own backyard, and walk to Death Valley to watch the Tigers. It doesn't matter your group size, Rent Like a Champion has affordable options for your Clemson weekend. Reserve your game day home today. Call 855-BIG-GAME.
Guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Cottingham Family Dentistry is proud to announce the opening of their new office located at 3722 Devine Street, and they're welcoming new patients. What makes Cottingham Family Dentistry different? It's in the name, family. They will cater to your needs and the dental needs of your children. Cottingham Family Dentistry offers same-day crowns, dental implants, cosmetic dentistry, including whitening, veneers, and tooth-colored fillings, and many other dental services. If you're searching for an amazing dental home, call 776-4234 or stop by their new office at 3722 Devine Street and become a part of the family at Cottingham Family Dentistry.
The chance for showers and thunderstorms will continue throughout the overnight hours with mostly cloudy skies. Waking up Thursday morning, temperatures in the low to mid-70s. Chance of showers and storms throughout Thursday afternoon. High temperatures 91 with mostly cloudy skies. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm meteorologist Michelle Rotella.
This report is brought to you by U.S. Auto Sales.
Just the facts, Jack. Hey, it's Jack with the facts. Getting declined for a car loan is a slap in the face. Another fact, U.S. Auto Sales will work with you regardless of your credit situation. Forget if. At U.S. Auto Sales, it's about how we'll make it happen. That's a fact.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
Clemson Sports Talk back at it here. Lawton Swan with Lowell the intern. We were just checking in on the Facebook feed. Lowell was like, whoa, man, this thing is way behind. That is one thing I notice about the Facebook feed, more so than YouTube. Give you a prime example. We're streaming high definition video to YouTube. We're streaming 1/3 of that right now to Facebook. YouTube in an hour and a half has dropped 484 frames, 0.3%. Facebook has dropped 17,000, virtually 30%. It's 3 times less the bandwidth. So you can clearly see on my end that YouTube is built for streaming media, Facebook not so much. I'd be interested to do a show just on Facebook to see how that goes. But as long as I found this out through my many years of broadcasting, as long as the audio comes across okay, people will live with drop frames. It'll just look a little blurry. It's not anything that's going to be discernible to the watcher. But if you're on Facebook, we'd love you to keep us updated on how that video goes. Since 7 o'clock, we've had what they call 22 event logs on Facebook. So not ideal, but nonetheless, it helps us spread the word about the program. 803-978-1832. Lowell, I noticed most of the listeners did not, I'm sure, but you did say, Swanee, I need to correct myself. So go ahead, Lowell, take it away.
Yeah, speaking of Auburn's quarterback competition, I believe I said James Franklin III, who he is not the third, but at Penn State, James Franklin, obviously the head coach there.
Right.
John Franklin III is Auburn's quarterback, so
well,
I want to correct that there.
We can forgive that as long as you didn't say Ben Franklin III. I mean, that would be one that might be a little bit indefensible, but no, a little first name. But you did well to get through it, and you picked up on it. I noticed, but no big deal. All right, so lots of people here chiming in on social media with the program tonight. We're going to try to keep up and take a look at all of this stuff. First, coming to us from the mobile form over on our on our free Clemson Sports Talk app. This comes to us tonight from, let's see if they told me their name. Sometimes people forget to tell me their name. I don't see a name, so we'll just roll with K-Land. K-Land. That's what we'll say, K-Land. Says, Swanee, just listened to the August 2nd podcast. Apparently the atmosphere for such behavior has existed at Texas A&M for a while, going back to the coaching staff putting together a sexist presentation in front of over 700 women. These geniuses over there at Texas A&M, the offensive line coach and the special teams coach. He says, it seems like that's existed at Texas A&M for a while. Look at Johnny Football. What a mess and sad waste of talent. I don't believe he just turned rogue after he got to the NFL. There's no universe where I would even imagine DW4 conducting himself that way. Love your show so much. Thanks for blessing us each day. No, listen, K-Land, it ain't about me, brother. It is all about you, the listener, and it always will be. Thank you so much for your gracious comments about the program. I'm blessed to have you as a listener. It is all my honor to be a part of your evenings. Trust me on that front. I know Lowell will agree as well. All right, also via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line, TJ chiming in says, hey, big shot Bob Orry has more than Sir Air Jordan, but he'll tell you that he's not Jordan, but please check this to be... Oh, yeah, he doesn't have more. TJ goes on to say, please check this to be sure. Yeah, no. I don't think big shot Bob Orry. Does Robert Orry have 7 titles? I don't believe he does. I think he's got 6. I think he's got the same amount as Michael Jordan. He can hardly wait, though, to see Mike Williams. And he says, no, second place banners in Death Valley practice facility, yes, but not in the Valley. Leave second place stuff for the Gamecocks. That comes to us from TJ.
He has 7.
Orry?
97, 95, 2000 to 2002, 2005, 2007.
Greatest player of all time in the modern era. Big shot Bob. Anybody want to disagree with that? 7 titles for Orry? Really? So what do you got? You got 9 for 9 or 10 for Bill Russell. I think Bill Russell's got 10. Then there's a bunch of guys with 9. Nobody's got 8. Then Robert Ory's got 7. I did this list the other day. I forgot about Robert Ory's got 7. Wow. TJ, good looking out there, man. Anytime you can keep me on my toes, that's good sports talk radio. You know what bad sports talk radio is, Lowell? I heard a show last night where these guys were throwing out trivia questions and nobody could answer the questions. It was so sad. I almost had to stop. I was like, just stop, guys. And they're throwing out easy things. Easy questions. Nobody listening could get those answers. Maybe the smart listeners were asleep. Finally, coming to us from Tiger Weenie. I think we could say that on the air. He says, heck, we put up banners for winning super regionals. Winning a semi in football is more significant, in my opinion. Lowell gives me the, well, I told you so. See, people, listen. That's the problem with ever agreeing with Lowell the intern on anything. This guy, it's apparent that Lowell the intern is not right much in his life, because when he is right, he is the most braggadocious individual you'll ever see.
I wouldn't say I was bragging. It was more of a thank you. It was more of a, thank you for agreeing with me type of thing.
Is that what it was?
Glad someone's on my side here.
Yeah. Listen, you guys have no idea how fun it is to work with Lowell the intern. The 23-year-old youth. But I will say, Lowell, I listened to you and Mike Vaughn. I want to give you kudos again for the job you did last week filling in for me. No reservations henceforth. If I'm ever feeling a little bit under the weather, you may have to call in to the old class sick and say, I got business to tend to. I got to take care of the Clemson Sports Talk baby. I got to make sure things are up and running. But you and Mike, y'all did a great job. How did it feel? Let me ask you this. How did it feel for you guys getting, feedback and stuff from people on the text line and the phone calls and all of that? Because I know one of the biggest fears or reservations people have when they get into doing a show by themselves, when you're not specifically typically the host, is, what do I do if nobody calls? What do I do if people don't support me? What was it like for you when you guys started getting those messages and stuff?
Oh, I mean, it's always nice to get it. And I assume I'm going to get it every night, but if it doesn't happen, we'll be okay. We have enough topics that we can go for the whole 2 hours, and we'll be okay. Not caller-driven, always caller-friendly.
Well, there you go. Look, listen, I've tried to teach you that. You always want to have enough. You want to have more than enough to dive in. And now you and Mike Vaughn have done 3 shows together, built a little camaraderie. And
I can't remember who it was. It was a comedian doing an interview, and he was talking to another guy who was like, I've got 20 minutes of material here. And he goes, you've got 5. So you always want to have way more than you think you have.
Oh, yeah. Listen, there's no questioning that fact. You always want to have a lot more. 803-978-1832. That's the number. The text line brought to you by the Caribbean Resort and Villas over in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 803-450-0086. When we get back, we dive into the College Sports Corner, brought to you by our good friends down at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac in Orangeburg. Stay with us here on the program for more of the Hurry Up No Huddle Sports Talk Express.
In the U.S., there is a football field's length of underground utility lines for every person in the country. And every 6 minutes, one of those utility lines is damaged. The easiest way to prevent this from happening is by calling 811 to have your underground utility lines marked, so you know where it is safe to dig. This is a free service and will help prevent utility damages which may result in injury, fines, and utility service outages. Call 811 or click sc811.com. Sponsored by South Carolina 811 and aired by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association and this station.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always are the same. We win.
Shaking the Southland weeknights, Clemson Sports Talk. So many people chiming in on Facebook. Wow, I'm so glad to have that new audience being a part of the program. Got some other people coming in via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line. This one, if you're a Clemson Tiger fan tonight, will make your ears perk up. Again, this could be one of those, a friend of a friend, my cousin's sister's girlfriend, blah, 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 Trevor Lawrence. But Travis, who chimes in quite frequently here on the program, writes, it says, Swanee, my uncle has been around Clemson for a long time, and he's seen many players at practice. And he says that Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback he's ever seen. So Trevor Lawrence, of course, the 5-star 2018 prospect out of the state of Georgia. That coming to us from Travis tonight, saying that he's the best. And what I've told you is what I've heard. Many people believe he is the highest regarded quarterback in the next 2 cycles, one in which Clemson has Hunter Johnson already committed as one of the top-rated guys. So there you go. People feeling like this kid coming out of high school in another year, the better prospect. Talking Donkey on Twitter, watching the show on YouTube. Shout out to you, Talking Donkey. Thank you. And then we've got a lot of folks with us over on Facebook. Ryan Hood, man, appreciate you being a part of it. Doug says, let's give a trophy to Dabo's 2010 6-7 team. Jim Hooten says, buddy, you don't put the big Boom Bryce in the same line as Death Valley. I think indicating that you don't put up those second-place banners. Again, Clemson already got some division trophies in there where they didn't win the ACC. I don't like that. Mike Rucker says, I wouldn't like it either. Just taking a look here. Some folks, a little shout-out. Chris says, go Tigers. James Duncan says, go Tigers. And Lamyron wants to know, was that a kiss? Yeah, sadly, that was a kiss from executive producer Rob Sanders on the back of my head earlier. One of the downfalls, Lowell, of shaving your head is the fact that all of a sudden people are a little bit more comfortable with it. If you got hair, nobody's coming up and trying to sneak a quick kiss on the back of your head. If you're bald, people will mess with you. And executive producer Rob Sanders waltzed into the studio earlier and planted a quick kiss on the back of my head while the cameras were on me. Roger, on the line, wants to talk about the YouTube feed. Hopefully that's good. Quarterbacks and Clemson. Roger, the trifecta. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'll skip the YouTube. You can call me after show, and I'll tell you what I get in the upstate.
Okay, great.
The quarterback you were just talking about.
Yeah.
What I hear, he's the number 1 rated quarterback coming out his junior year of college, being the number 1 quarterback picked in the draft. He's that good. And it's just to be in the mix with kids like him.
Right.
Is great. And while I was going, I thought I heard O-line right. I was in the hot tub, and he was talking about Deshaun Watson making other wide receivers look good, where he was talking about some of the great wide receivers like Swan and Rice and them making the quarterbacks look good. Do you realize last year, and this is the reason why I called, going into the national championship game, we had lost a freshman, a true freshman, Kane, who was coming on.
Right.
But our best wide receiver was a walk-on. If you looked at if you matched the wide receivers up from Clemson to virtually anybody in the country at that time, that game, we were way down the totem pole. And O-line hit it right on the head. Some receivers, Watson, people like that, made Boyd probably look a little better than he was. But we have a quarterback who makes everybody on the field better. And I just, when he said that, he was spot on. I said, I got to get in and and ditto what he said. That we have somebody special, and we're probably getting back the best wide receiver in the country.
Yeah.
Maybe the best tight end in the country. And then Kane, from the Willsworth, the other freshman.
Ray McLeod.
That are now going to be another year into the program. Man, and Renfro, hopefully they put him on a scholarship. The sky's the limit. So if the defense can be close to what they were last year, I look for the offense to put maybe 5 or 6 points more a game up. And that offensive line getting to the trenches, man. And I'm ready to see some gold line stands from our defense, from the 2-yard line, putting in 700, 800 pounds right in the middle. Oh, it's going to be sweet.
I hear you.
Clemson, it's great to be, Swanee is great to be a Clemson Tiger.
Man, you're right. 1 month away from the college football season. Roger listening to us up in the upstate, the 864. Roger, knock around those Sports Talk radio stations up there, man. Tell them you want the Hurry Up No Huddle Sports Talk Express in your area. And that goes for anybody listening to the show. We'd love to be a part of your local radio stations. If you're in Charleston, start calling them up. That's all you got to do. Call them up. Over there in the, Myrtle Beach, the Myrtle Beach, Florence area, Augusta. My theory is this, Lowell. This is the new Swanee theory on expansion in this state. We're already in Columbia. We're in the belly of the beast with a Clemson Sports Talk show. So if I take my right hand and I place it on the state of South Carolina, all right, my pinky's sitting on Charleston. I need to be there. My ring finger's sitting in Florence, Myrtle Beach. I need to be there. My middle finger is sitting in like Fort Mill, Rock Hill. I need to be there. The index finger, it's in like the Greenville, Spartanburg, Clemson area. Yeah, I'm looking at you, WCCP. Talk to your boy. And then finally, with the thumb, I'm placing it squarely on the Augusta-Aiken area. That's all I need. Give me that. Give the Clemson Tiger fans what they want. Let the Hurry Up No Huddle Sports Talk Express blaze through each and every evening. We will change the game in the sports talk radio industry in your area. It begins with you, the listener, though. Those of you on Facebook listening to us wherever you are in the world, go out there. Jim Rome used to say it, bang on the doors, let them know that you want to have our program in your market. The listener will make the change. We can distribute it. That's not a problem. All we need is the program directors in that area to know that you'll be listening and you'll be a part of the show. So help us out. We want to expand this program even further. But thanks to iHeart Radio, you can listen where you want, anywhere in the world. If you can't catch us on Fox Sports Radio 1400 live over the air, you got iHeart Radio. Now we're on Facebook. We're at home when you get home. Now we're on YouTube. Watch us live or watch us when you want to watch us on your flat screen TV. And finally, we podcast every edition of the program. We don't have time, unfortunately, tonight to get into the College Sports Corner brought to you by our good friends down at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. But that's okay. We'll roll that over to tomorrow. We appreciate what they do for this program. Love what we heard from Christian Wilkins today. Love what we heard from Dabo Sweeney today. All of that audio will be in the podcast edition of the program, so you can catch that a little bit later in the evening. A couple of notes, though, coming out now from former Clemson Tigers in the pros. Lowell, did you see Richie Schaefer getting called up by the Rays? So Schaefer's going to get his chance there in the big leagues. He batted .222 with 8 home runs, 41 RBIs, and a .335 on-base percentage with the Durham Bulls. So kudos to Schaefer for getting a chance in the big leagues.
Yeah, and the Rays are kind of struggling this year, so I assume that they're going to call up some younger guys and give them some experience and playing time. But, hey, good for him, landing a good situation, played well in the minors, and now he's being called up to the big time.
Yeah, you know, these guys, it's a funny world of professional baseball and trying to work your way up. It's incredible how difficult it is when you start to look at the draft and the number of guys and the fact that you've got single A, double A, and triple A. Just anytime you get a chance to get up to the big leagues and show what you can do, that's an opportunity that you absolutely cannot give up on. Another note, we talked about Nuke Hopkins the other day, and Obviously, Hopkins held out for a brief moment there at the Houston Texans camp. The good news is for Hopkins, he's back, and the Texans have assured him that they're going to take care of him. They're going to make sure that he gets the money he rightfully deserves. I thought it was funny, Lowell, and we'll see if you agree with me. When the player in the NFL is from your college team, you kind of stand behind him and say, yeah, man, you should pay Nuke. If this is Odell Beckham, though, the conversation is what, Lowell? It's, he's just greedy. What a greedy guy. You signed the contract. I think it's funny about college football fans because in a lot of ways they are fickle and protective of their own. It's almost like a mother bird, perhaps, looking after her young. So, hey, Hopkins is worth every penny they pay him. We'll see how many coins, though, that are a part of that. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we've got for today. We'll be back tomorrow with you right here live at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Radio, iHeart Radio, Facebook, and YouTube. For Lowell the Intern on Twitter, at Lowell the Intern, I'm Lawton Swan. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
You're on Pit Stop Radio.